Right, well, also on this story and the latest developments, we have two correspondents. Shortly, we'll go to Hamdah Salhut in Jordan's capital. But first, Oliver Marsden, who's in Beirut. Oliver, you there? Yeah, in Beirut. OK. Oliver, tell us more about what's been happening.
Yep. Well, basically, we've just heard that Hezbollah has confirmed that one of its senior commanders, Ibrahim Qubaisi, was killed today in that strike, that Israeli-targeted strike on Dahieh, the southern suburb of Beirut, that densely populated area. We've also heard that about 2 hours ago, there was an Israeli strike in Jazeera, which is a coastal town about 20-25 kilometers from where I'm standing. According to local media, was an industrial site next to a petrol station. And that also follows further strikes here in Lebanon from the Israeli military in southern Lebanon. There are 3 more since you and I last spoke, so that brings the total up to 43 just in the last few hours. And also, Hezbollah has been responding to those strikes. It's been firing rockets over into Israel. The sirens have been going off, and included in that, the Islamic resistance in Iraq. Hezbollah claimed that they fired a salvo of rockets at a military base in Israel. So this conflict is still very much ongoing this evening, and in the last few hours, there's been a lot of strikes.
Yeah, and those are the strikes, and we're talking there about the salvos that you were just mentioning. But how are the Lebanese people coping with the current situation? So many of them, some of them are Palestinians originally, or even Syrians that have already been displaced. And now you have more Lebanese people displaced, especially with that influx of those moving from the south to the north.
Yes, well, of course, the feeling here is very tense. As you say, there are Palestinians who have been displaced before, Syrians who have been displaced and been going through war very recently. And you have the people here in Beirut who are tense. You know, we've had 3 days of strikes here in Dahieh. There was Friday, there was yesterday, and now today, this strike in the southern suburb of Dahieh. Another missile strike in Jazeera, only about 20 kilometers away. I had people messaging me to say that they heard that from their rooms in Beirut this evening. So it's a very tense atmosphere. A lot of people very worried. You also have the tens of thousands of Lebanese people fleeing from the south, heading north here to Beirut. The Lebanese Foreign Minister Abdallah Abu Habib said that he believes 500,000 people have been displaced across southern Lebanon. And the people I spoke to today, they were exhausted, you know, they were scared, and there was this feeling of despair, you know, where do we go, what happens next, and what are they going to do, how are they going to survive in Beirut, how are they going to pay for it? So there are a lot of people wondering, you know, what is coming next for Lebanon?
Lebanese people have suffered many times over from wars, so this won't be the first time that they've been displaced. Well, let's bring in Hamdah Salhut, who's live for us from Amman in Jordan, because the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting within Israel. Hamdah, we're hearing of rockets, of course, as Oliver was mentioning there, but also what are the Israeli politicians or Prime Minister or even the military saying about their latest airstrikes?
Well, this has been the most intense day of that cross-border fire since it began on October 8th of last year. An unprecedented number of rockets launched from southern Lebanon into northern Israel. The initial army estimate is at 300. The military says that most of them were intercepted or fell in open areas, but there were several that made impact. Additionally, the army is saying that they conducted a series of airstrikes in 4 waves, one of the largest in the Israeli military's history. 250 fighter jets participating, dropping some 2,000 munitions across Lebanese territory. The Israeli Army Chief of Staff has said that Hezbollah is not going to get a break, that it's going to continue with its offensive until the goal of returning evacuated Israelis to the north is achieved. Similarly, the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has said that the Hezbollah that was there a week ago is not the same Hezbollah that's there now, indicating that Israel has dealt severely severe blows to the Lebanese group and that there are more military maneuvers and airstrikes that are coming. And Yoav Gallant was actually speaking to Israeli army troops who were stationed on the northern border, conducting drills for potential ground invasion into southern Lebanon, something that has looming fears around it. But this is something the army has been saying for some time and actually conducting drills, some of the largest in the military's history as well throughout the last several months. It's important to remember the rhetoric of Israeli politicians from the very top, that they were not afraid to bomb Lebanon back to the Stone Age. They were not afraid to turn Beirut into a second Gaza. And we are seeing some of the policy that the Israeli military has when it comes to the Gaza Strip being implemented across Lebanese territory, with a lot of international condemnation, a lot of concern around what's next. But nonetheless, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be traveling to New York to speak at the United Nations General Assembly. He is set to leave Israel Wednesday evening.
Okay, Hamdah Salhut, live for us there in Jordan. Thanks for that update.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.